I'm live. It's like Janet says, every time just before we go live, we are always wondering, are we live? Oh, so I'm wondering who's here this morning, and just come and say good morning, and let me know how you are. And as always, I'm really excited to be here on a Saturday morning for World Without Wine. For those who don't know me, I'm Lynette, and I am the recovery coach for World Without Wine. 3 years ago, it was a completely different story. My life looked so different. And I'm going to be talking about thoughts this morning. I'm just looking if anybody is here yet. Let me know. Sometimes the comments don't show immediately. And why am I talking about the power of thoughts this morning? And really because 3 years ago, I didn't know that our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, and the results in our life were also interlinked. I kind of had them all separate, you know, your thoughts are separate to your feelings, to your actions. I know that one has to kind of harness one's thoughts or take care of one's thoughts, one's feelings. Who wants to feel bad things anyway, so suppress them, numb them. And looking back 3 years from now, most of my thoughts were about when the situation is perfect, then I'll give up drinking. Or when I change my job, I'll be happier. Or maybe I just needed to do one more workshop of kind, self-development. Maybe I should just try something else, and then I'd be able to give up drinking. So I thought I could just do affirmations. So if you're here this morning, just let me know, what thoughts did you wake up with this morning? What was the first thought that popped into your head this morning? And just share it with me. So you can comment. Maybe Janet, you can let me know what you were thinking about this morning. For me, when my eyes opened this morning, I thought, okay, Facebook Live, anxiety, okay, Wim Hof breathing, cold shower, and I'll tell you more about that as we go on. For those of you who know me and you've worked with me, know that lately I have really embraced the embodiment of the body, of grounding work, of healing the body, of healing feelings and emotions and thoughts through the body. It's become a huge focus for me, and I'll also allude more to you as to why that is. So Eckhart Tolle says that the primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it. And like I said, 3 years ago, that definitely did not ring true for me. I was operating very much from the outside in. And I discovered along my journey of going on this coaching adventure, that I like to call it, that it was so empowering to discover that I could generate anything I wanted from the inside out. And interestingly enough, neuroscience is also really catching up on this. I've said this often, that a couple of like centuries ago, the gurus and the yogis were already talking about the importance of mind control, controlling your mind, controlling your body, working with your biology, how you could influence your biology through your thoughts. Dr. Caroline Leaf, who's a neuroscientist, has come up with some brilliant tools around this and has been a huge advocate for learning how to work with your mindset, and now is also embracing more of the importance of body work, mindfulness. In fact, she says before you even start doing your thought work, it's really important to get your body and mind in the right shape, hence the Wim Hof breathing or breath work. So meditation, prayer, they all set the tone for being able to really get in touch and be open to one's thoughts and what's really going on. Interestingly enough, I just have to talk about this because Raya Elias, who was a partner of Elizabeth Gilbert, did a talk to prisoners in Rikers Valley, and she said that who we are, who you are not prisoners. You are not here in a prison in an orange overall. Who you are is what's in your heart. So this is who you are. This is where you live. This is where you live. So free your mind, clean up the mess in your mind, and you can go wherever you want. Viktor Frankl spoke about that in Man's Search for Meaning, about the importance of really being optimistic and realistic at the same time, but harnessing your thoughts, finding meaning in no matter what the situation is. So whatever you might be facing this morning, I just want to say to you that circumstances do not create our happiness. There'll always be another virus or another calamity that hits us, or we'll lose our jobs, or we'll have a fire, or we'll get an illness. This is life, but that doesn't have to, as Eckhart Tolle says, control our happiness, control our well-being. And there's a scientist and a psychologist the scientist is Elizabeth Blackburn, and she's a Nobel Prize winner for her work in neuroscience. And between her and Elissa Epel, who is a psychologist, they've been researching the power of thoughts on our biology, and particularly on our telomeres. So who's heard of telomeres, and who knows what they are? Let me just have a look here. Who's here? Flick, you're going to love this part where I talk about telomeres and neuroplasticity. Hi, Irene. Yeah, Eckhart Tolle, Essential Reading. Yeah. Hi, Monica. So awesome to see you all here this morning. And okay, so who's heard of telomeres? And I'm sure Flick has. The telomeres are like the chromosomes, our genome that runs our body, that creates aging or slows down aging. So telomeres are like shoelaces, or the chromosomes are the shoelaces, and the telomeres are the cap on the shoelace. So they kind of keep the shoelace together and try and keep it from fraying. But what happens is that as the chromosome keeps dividing, and as we age and eventually gets shorter and shorter, or the telomere snaps off and it starts fraying, and then we have like really degenerative diseases that start to happen. And we have aging, and people often ask, why two people that are the same age, one is like, their life is like sunshine, or they've had all these challenges in their life, and yet they look young and youthful. And then you have somebody else who has aged and who is looking years older than they're supposed to. What is this? Is it really just our genes? And what they've discovered is, no, it's not. What has a lot to do with it is the way we think, our thoughts. And what they've identified is that thoughts directly influence the telomeres, and that the telomeres and listen to our thoughts. I mean, how amazing is that? And Caroline Leaf actually has a beautiful example that she uses, which is where she uses a beautiful tree and says, this is a healthy, positive brain, it's good thoughts, good thought patterns happening. And then she has a wiry tree, and she says, this is what your brain looks like when it's filled with toxic thoughts. And toxic thoughts like, I just can't stop drinking, I'm bad, shameful thoughts, I can never change, I am just who I am, I was just born this way. Those thoughts create what she calls the wiry tree. So I've got two examples here today. Just a second. So imagine this beautiful orchid with all these beautiful, healthy flowers. Is you having healthy thought patterns, healthy body, and this is what you want to look like, flowering, healthy, versus my other orchid that is really, looks almost dead. But we can get this orchid going again, as we can also through neuroplasticity, as what it has taught us, we could actually grow our telomeres again. We can lengthen them again. We can heal them. How? And that to me was like really very exciting. And so the first part was really to create awareness of how am I thinking? What are my thoughts? And if I'm having a lot of, so the thoughts that Elizabeth Blackburn and Elissa Epel have identified, the thought patterns that create aging are hostility. So if you like often very angry, imagine yourself in a queue and you just think that the person who just got in front of me just to show me up, or just that person who cut in front of me is bad, and everybody's out to get me, and often very anxious, and people who are suspicious have these hostility thoughts which cause havoc in our brain. And then we have pessimists and pessimism. Oh, you know, I'm the victim, life is just terrible, everything is just going to shit. I mean, like, look what's happening in the world, there is no hope. So watch yourself for those thoughts. And then there's the other one, which I was, and I am still famous for, which is rumination. So rumination is when you have one thought that runs over and over in your mind. It creates worry, it creates anxiety. It's like you just can't let go of it. You've had an argument with your husband or with a colleague, and you play it over and over and over, or something happened in the past that you just you can't change it. You can't. Worry and anxiety is all about trying to change something that you have no control over, or anticipation of how you want something to go. So rumination, watch yourself for that. And the other one, which is so fascinating to me, is suppression. When we suppress the thoughts we don't want, and we think, okay, through affirmation. I mean, the affirmation technique was a huge one in the self-help group. Just to have these positive affirmations, look at them all the time, and then eventually you believe them. But actually what that causes is cognitive dissonance, because if you don't believe it, no matter how much you say, I'm going to be rich, I mean, no matter how much I say, I'm going to be a world-class musician, I'm tone deaf, it's never going to happen. I know that deep down. So what am I going to do? I can say till kingdom come, I'm going to be this amazing singer. It's not going to happen. Cognitive dissonance, suppression of reality. So whatever happens in your life, get very real with what is actually going on with you. What is the problem that I'm having to face? And then you can go into embracing the thoughts and the body work that's going to help you deal with it, whatever it may be. But catch yourself when you are just trying to suppress. And those of us who are drinking, we are famous for that. We're famous for suppression of emotions that we don't want to feel. If you find yourself often saying, yeah, I'll do it, I'll start on Monday. Monday is going to be the perfect day. It actually starts playing out in that thought, I call it a repetitive thought pattern, starts playing out in all areas of your life. For example, you'll find yourself procrastinating, instead of doing something that you should. It can be, I'm going to clean up my bedroom, you never get to it, or it's going to be about sending a letter to somebody or calling somebody, and procrastination becomes a way of being. If that's you, that was me. That's why I can talk about it like this. And when I actually started learning the power of harnessing the moment, of harnessing my mind and my emotions, and getting into action, it was amazingly liberating. It does not happen overnight. There are still times I go back into my usual patterns, but now I catch them. And that's really what it's about, to catch us when we go into these thought patterns. So suppression is very, very toxic for us. It's like, imagine, I think it was one of those Russian writers, Tolstoy, I think, who said, imagine I tell you not to think of a pink elephant. All you're going to want to do is think of a pink elephant. And the pink elephant becomes all-encompassing. But I'm saying to you, you can think of anything else but a pink elephant. The same thing happens when we start thinking about drinking. You're not going to drink. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to drink. I have to not drink. I can't drink. Well, eventually, you're going to drink. Okay. So watch the suppression. And the other one is very interestingly dreaming, mind wandering. People let their mind wander a lot. I didn't kind of get this. I think I spoke to about it in my feelings workshop, how I used to just tune out from painful situations. And I would even find myself in a Kundalini yoga class where we had to keep our arms up for 15 minutes. I could do it, no problem, if I could just let my mind go elsewhere. Apparently, that is not good for the telomeres. It's not good for your neuroplasticity, your suppression. You're suppressing through mind wandering. So where do you sometimes just let your mind wander? You think, oh, everything will be okay tomorrow. And you can't actually even focus on one task anymore. You find yourself doing 10 different things. Your concentration has gone right down. Those are all clues of that you are not learning how to focus. And in the psychology of happiness, what they found is that people who were able to get into flow, get into focus, were the happiest people. So it's about training your mind to get into constraint, not going all over the place, focusing. And so that's how we want to start harnessing our thoughts so that we can have our neurons and our biology firing and wiring together to create a healthy mind and a healthy body. So Caroline Leaf and Brooke Castillo, they and there's very many different schools of thought and teachers that all teach about thought control. And how do we do this? How do we actually start on a program of where we start really learning to work with our thoughts, learning what are our repetitive patterns. For me, coaching was one way where I could really unravel it and start really getting clarity around it. Because sometimes these repetitive thoughts, you're not even aware that you're thinking them anymore until you speak them out. So in a coaching session, when you're just sharing with what's going on for you, the coach will often hear those repetitive thoughts that are creating the suffering. Which one is the one that is causing you the damage? Because thoughts are building blocks. Thoughts are the building blocks of our biology. They are our real estate. If our thoughts are creating this in our brain and in our body versus the beautiful flowering plant, we need to give them attention and we need to learn how. And as I said before, start with really creating the foundation from where you can work with your thoughts. So the first one is really awareness. And the first thing in the morning when you wake up, scan your body. Is there an uncomfortable feeling? What's going on? So just scan your body and do some breath work. If you're religious, do some prayer. If you like meditation, starting off the day with a meditation is fantastic. I start my day off now with a breath work, and I do Wim Hof's breath work, and then I go from there straight into a cold shower, and it's just so invigorating. I've managed now 3 minutes in a cold shower, and it's just amazing how you start controlling your body's biology, and then the clarity of mind after that to go and sit down and then to start journaling. What is going on? Journaling is when you start to reflect and you start asking yourself questions. Why do I want to stop drinking? Write about it. What do I want to change in my life and why? What is not working for me and why? And you just write about it. And once you've written about it, then you can go into your writing and you can see the repetitive thoughts. You can see maybe one or two thoughts that really jump out at you that you can say, okay, I need to work with these thoughts. I need to reframe them. And that is the key. It's not to just change from a negative thoughts of I'm just this way I am wonderful, I can do whatever I want, I've got this done. It's rather about just changing the vibrations slightly higher. When you notice the thought is, I'm just born this way, to I can change. Slowly I can change. I can be better. I can get better at this. And start bringing in those kind of thoughts. All is for me. I was very much stuck in the victim mentality where everything was always against me and I was the victim. And I've got a beautiful friend who always reminds me of that. And I changed that thought to eventually to all is for me. So when life brings me challenges, what is the opportunity for me in growth and evolving? It's for me, it's not against me. And so really look at reframing some of the things that you have written into a more positive way. And that is really the key, because it's positive optimism that creates a healthy brain, a brain that looks like this and not like a wire. But the beautiful thing is that, watch this orchid. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to show you that this orchid is going to flower again. So that's the good news. When we start doing this work, we can really start growing our telomeres again, and they can start lengthening again. But it takes, and even Caroline Leaf talks about this, that to create a new neural pathway, to really reframe a repetitive thought, takes a minimum of 66 days. That's how long it takes to change a neural pathway. So and the last step that you want to start doing is that when you've got a thought that you really want to work with, a repetitive thought that you're going to reframe, anchor it to a breath, or anchor it to a prayer or a mantra. And throughout the day, when this thought props up, you recognize it. You just have a couple of breaths. There you are again. Or a mantra. Like, I like to just go and just say to myself, Satnam. Satnam. There's a thought again, Satnam. And it kind of just anchors me into changing and reframing and creating awareness around the thoughts. So whatever it is for you, if it's a mantra, it's a breath, link that to the thought that you want to change. In the same way that you want to change a behavior. And so really I'm working a lot around this. As I said, our biology and our brain is so interlinked with our thoughts. And harness those thoughts. And almost like, I use the analogy of the 4 horses for the neurotransmitters. In the same way, when you get up in the morning, this is your day. Harness your day. Harness your day with a good morning routine. Get clarity. Get your thought work done. Journal. Get into gratitude. And the one emotion you want to get into, the one emotion that heals and lengthens our telomeres, is love. So how can you get back into love? I want you to ask yourself that. What is love for you? And how can you get back into love and looking through the love lens, through the kindness lens? Bring those thoughts and those emotions back into your life, and you'll never look back. And it's a journey, it's an adventure. You are destined to lead a beautiful life, a healthy life, a happy life, and a meaningful life. So thank you all for being here this morning. I hope that you got something from what I was sharing with you. And I'm going to just have a look here. Flick, yes, yes, yes. You've already got her. I love it, Flick. Hi, Jerry. How are you? Yeah. Viktor Frankl, and people who survived terrible conditions of concentration camps were those who had harnessed power of their thoughts. Absolutely. And the telomeres are like shoelaces. Yeah, exactly, Flick. So mindfulness is a beautiful way to incorporate a healthy mind, healthy thoughts, healthy body. Absolutely. Hi, Teresa, good to see you. And Mashley, good to see you too. And Clive. what you think you become. Yes. We have a mindfulness teacher on the workshop this afternoon, and I think it would be wonderful for us to run some mindfulness workshops at the Zoom Cafe, or just have some mindfulness workshops. It's really fabulous. I can't tout the wonders of mindfulness enough. And even if you're just making yourself a cup of coffee, just being in the moment. Eckhart Tolle talks about how we so often either in our past or in our future, but the bliss moment is in the now, is in the present. So how through mindfulness we can really bring ourselves into the present. Yeah, journaling is amazing. Just getting those thoughts out of your head onto paper, absolutely fantastic. I also can't just talk about the power of journaling enough. Yeah. Hi, Annika. Oh, love and gratitude will lengthen our telomeres. Yes. And so much of our time is spent when we are drinking on regret, on all of those emotions and thoughts that are really just creating toxic environment for our mind, really. So thank you, everybody. I'll see you all. For those of you who are coming to the workshop, I'll see you. I'll see you, Janet. Thank you for taking your time to be here this morning with me. And it's really a privilege to talk about this work, to talk about my passion. And yeah, so I'm wishing you all just a beautiful day. Embrace the day, fill it with love, fill it with gratitude, and see you soon. If not tomorrow at the Zoom Cafe, then I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Bye.